Hi, it's Dwyer, DwyerBoxingNews.com, GamblersAdvisory.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Today is September 17th, 2012. Let's talk about what happened in the Sergio Martinez, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight. Now, I'll be blunt with everyone. People know before the fight I thought Martinez would win, but I'll be blunt. I privately thought that Martinez was going to win this fight by knockout. I thought the gap between these two fighters was that pronounced. Chavez Jr., how do I put this? I question whether he belongs in the ring with a Sergio Martinez, right? In boxing, it's not the height of the fighter or even the fight in the fighter. It's really a technique thing. And I thought it was obvious in the first 11 rounds that Sergio Martinez was literally a cut above Chavez Jr. Now, you've heard me use phrases before like mid-range hooker. These are phrases I use. Ambush fighter. Let's add a new one to the vocabulary here. Reset time. By that I mean the time between when a fighter puts his front foot on the canvas and when he's able to get off punches, right? There's a little gap there, right? Fighters who are throwing with any kind of power have to plant their front foot, right? Let me just say that the time between when Sergio Martinez plants his front foot and throws jabs or even throws dominant left hands, that amount of time is probably half the amount of time that it takes Chavez to plant his foot and throw punches, right? So Sergio Martinez for the first 11 rounds is literally just moving around the ring. He's moving laterally. He's forcing Chavez Jr. to reset. And when Martinez moves and puts that front foot down, he's able to get off multiple jabs before Chavez Jr. can do anything about it. Now, let me just say, if you look at the film of the first Carlos Molina Chavez Jr. fight, you're going to see that Chavez Jr. was as clueless then as he was now fighting Sergio Martinez. I thought the first 11 rounds were a shutout for Martinez. One of the judges' cards, I don't understand it. I understand Juan Manuel Marquez believes that Chavez Jr. won a few rounds. I wonder which ones they were, because what I saw was Sergio Martinez literally putting on a clinic. It wasn't close. He'd get to spots faster than Chavez Jr. He would then, much faster reset time. He'd then be able to just reset, plant the front foot, get off jabs, literally bust up Junior's eye, right? Junior's head was snapping back at times in this fight. Junior looked like he couldn't even get close to Martinez. And then, when he did get close to Martinez, Martinez at times literally hangs out by the ropes. He lets Junior come over. When Junior comes over, what we found out is, since Junior inside can't throw any straight punches, Martinez was able to cover up. Junior couldn't even hurt Martinez when he got inside. Watch the film of the fight. Martinez isn't smothered into the corner. Martinez literally goes over to the ropes. This reminded me of Manny Pacquiao going over to the ropes against Miguel Cotto, right? By the way, I know they're things flying in the screen. I'm not sure where they're from. Maybe my place is haunted. I really don't know. But if you see something dodge by, just understand that I don't know what it is. I'm looking at the computer screen. I see it, but I don't see it here where I am. So it's kind of freaky, right? Well, anyway, let me just say this. Let's talk about the 12th round. Okay? In the 12th round, let's all understand that Sergio Martinez going into the 12th round is completely lucid. He's kept Chavez Jr. twisting like a top in exactly the part of the ring where he wants him to be. When Martinez wants the fight to be in the middle of the ring, the fight's in the middle of the ring. When Martinez wants the fight to be over by the side of the ring, the fight's over at the side of the ring. Right? Martinez is so comfortable that he starts mocking Chavez Jr., in my opinion. He drops his hands. He motions to Chavez Jr. to try to hit him. Right? He's playing games. He's making a statement. Let's also debunk Chavez Jr. Mid-range hookers throw hooks with both hands. Chavez Jr. does. But his left is probably 2 times his right. Right? His left is the knockout punch, not his right. Right? What does that mean? That means that a fighter like Martinez, who knows that the power shots are going to be coming from wide angles, if he wants to prevent himself from getting hurt with Chavez Jr.'s best punch, all he has to do is raise his right hand. That's it. Right? If he raises his right hand and just keeps his hand up, Chavez Jr.'s punch is going to come from outside the hand, and it's not going to be able to hurt him. Especially if he has the common sense to tuck his chin and keep his glove up here. Then he can't get hit like Alcine was hit by Matthew Macklin on the side of the head, or like Roy Jones was hit when he fought Danny Green. So understand, in that last round, Martinez goes into the last round. He's not tired. He's in better shape than Chavez Jr. Right? Let's get real for a moment. He's in better shape than Chavez Jr. Right? The only reason Sergio Martinez gets hit, and he's hit multiple times, and he's hit hard, and when he's on the canvas, it's not a slip. He's been dropped. No question about it. But the only reason Sergio Martinez gets dropped in that round is Martinez decides he's going to continue to taunt Chavez Jr. He doesn't even have his right hand up. He's not even defending himself. I'm sure he was surprised to get hit. But let's face it, he easily could have fought that 12th round like Pernell Whitaker fought the 12th round against Chavez Jr.'s dad, right? Who, as we all know, is a better fighter than Chavez Jr. In that 12th round, Pernell Whitaker at one point is so much on his bike backing away that he waves at Chavez Sr., right? That was kind of like, at the time, his way of saying, I'm not going to be Meldrick Taylor, right? For you old timers, you know what I'm talking about. Here, Sergio Martinez decides he's going to come out in the 12th round and finish what it looked to me to be a shutout. I would encourage everyone, wow, this is a haunted video. Anyway, I would encourage everyone to, look at where Martinez's hands are when he gets hit. He's lucky he didn't fall out the ropes. Right? Fall out the ring, because he literally falls into the ropes when he gets hit, right? But Sergio Martinez is literally just trying to finish a shutout and fighting recklessly in that 12th round. Nobody should think that Chavez Jr., before he hurt Martinez in that 12th round, had done anything to weaken Sergio Martinez. Quite the opposite. He looked so bad in the fight. He was being shut out so methodically. He was so slow compared to Sergio Martinez. Every time Martinez moved and Chavez Jr. would move to match him, Chavez Jr. would get hit with 3 or 4 punches, right? Look at the CompuBox numbers, right? Listen to Freddie Roach after, I believe it's the 10th round, when it's clear to him that his guy needs a knockout to win the fight. So now, post-fight, after a dominant showing, I mean, had they said Sergio Martinez won 11 of the 12 rounds, that would have been credible. As it was, the judges had Sergio Martinez winning this fight by 7, 8 rounds, right? After this fight, now we're hearing talk of a rematch. You got to be kidding me, right? If they fight again, it's going to be even more one-sided because Martinez knows the angles. And the only difference is going to be, late in the fight, Martinez is either going to close the show. And now we're finding out Martinez had, torn ligaments and problems like that, health problems. Martinez is either going to close the show or he's going to hang out and make sure that he at least has some defense. What he's not going to do in the rematch, if they have one, and I don't think they should, because there's so many more tantalizing fights for Martinez, right? Think Canelo. Think Floyd Mayweather. Think Daniel Gill. Think Gennady Golovkin, right? There's so many real fights for him to have. Why would he fight some guy who he's just dominated to the point where when they read the decision, you were either thinking, wow, did Martinez win 11 rounds? How big is his victory? Or you were thinking, are they going to rob him? What you weren't thinking was, are they going to rob Chavez Jr.? Right? So that fight was a complete farce. Sergio Martinez really is much better than Chavez Jr. I believe he proved it. If you followed our traditional advice, not our aggressive portfolio, which talked about KO, but our advice to take Martinez to win the fight, straddled against Chavez by KO, let me just say this. You were sitting pretty in the 12th round because you knew going into the round that the only chance Chavez Jr. had of winning that fight was by KO, right? So you were covered. People ask, why do you hedge? It's for fights like this. Let me also point out, too, that I said before the fight there was no way that Chavez Jr. could beat Martinez by decision, right? All I can say is, on my scorecard, Sergio Martinez won 11 of the 12 rounds, right? Maybe yours was more generous to Chavez Jr., but I doubt you had Chavez Jr. winning more than 3 or 4 rounds. Understand, if you see a fight and one guy wins it 8-4, that's domination. Okay, that's domination. I'll agree, Chavez Jr. was badly hurt. Badly hurt. In the last minute of this fight, that's really more due to showboating than anything Chavez Jr. did. Let's talk about some other notes, too. You know what? When I heard about Amir Khan joining Virgil Hunter's camp, I cringed a little bit. Now, I don't mean to be too hard here, but in basketball, shot blockers, you can tell whether the guy is a shot blocker or not by just watching him in college, even before he gets to the pros. Because shot blockers think differently than the rest of us, right? They own the paint, right? They go get the ball when other people are just standing around. You can't make a shot blocker. The guy either has that innate sense and that split-second timing, or he doesn't, right? I can tell you that Anthony Davis is going to be a great shot blocker in the NBA, and as I make this video, he hasn't even played an NBA game, right? A guy can be big, he can look like an athlete, if he doesn't have that shot blocking mindset, he's not going to be a shot blocker. Think about all the great shot blockers, right? Dwight Howard, Akeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell. These were guys who, when they were in the paint and you flash by them, they just immediately, no one has to tell them. They immediately just leave their feet to block the shot. It's a split second, it's a millisecond type of thing, right? You can't teach a guy that kind of quick reflex, that kind of go get it, right? I'll even go further. When you see a Michael Jordan, who, let's face it, during his generation, was the dominant scorer in the NBA. The dominant scorer in the NBA. Most guys like that aren't playing defense, right? Because their offense is so dominant, it opens doors for them. It gets them on the high school team. It gets them on the college team. It gets them on the NBA team. It gets them the endorsements. It gets them the stardom, right? They have the gift. But when you see a Michael Jordan and the guy just plays on the ball defense, Gary Payton, another guy, right? These days, LeBron James, right? You see a guy who, obvious basketball player, NBA player, obvious, right? Can coast off his offense. But for some reason, there's some part of LeBron James that just needs to shut down Derrick Rose when the Heat play the Bulls, right? There's just that part of LeBron James where the offensive dominance is not enough, right? The guy's just going to go get it, right? And the guy has the quick reflexes where when a lightning quick guy like Derrick Rose has the ball, LeBron James will match him step for step and is there. He's turned on by it. I don't believe you can teach shot blocking or that level of defense. Now, the problem I believe Virgil Hunter is going to have with Amir Khan is I don't believe you can teach defensive head movement, right? The guy, just like shot blocking, the guy just has to be wired. He just has to have interpreted the sport at a young age to include rolling with punches, right? I believe a Virgil Hunter does well. Virgil Hunter, I'm using Virgil Hunter as a brand name, right? It could be any of a few elite trainers, right? Virgil Hunter is an elite trainer. Virgil Hunter does well with Andre Ward because Andre Ward's interpretation of the sport from the time he was a young man, and keep in mind, Ward hasn't lost a fight since he was 14 years old. From the time he was a young man, his interpretation of the sport is that the other guy throws, always look at Ward's eyes, right? Ward's watching his opponent, right? Ward will move his head. He rolls with punches. He doesn't even have to have his hands tight. One of the reasons Ward is fast, in fact faster than he actually moves his arms, is he'll actually be able to have his hands out and he can hit you with a punch with a hand that's already extended, right, when it's time to counter. But understand, Ward's able to do that because when you're throwing, he's moving, right? That head movement is just natural. Ray Leonard could have his hands out. You threw on Ray, Ray's just moving with the punch. He's rolling with the punch. The guys who roll with the punch, they're already in tune to what you're doing, right? They can literally mirror what you're doing. Sergio Martinez, right? Sergio Martinez has so much head movement, he can drop his hands. He's in front of you. You throw. No one has to tell Sergio Martinez to roll with punches. He understands the need for that. Well, somebody has to tell Amir Khan because Amir Khan is like that basketball scorer. He has power. He's an offensive juggernaut. He has blinding hand speed. He throws punches and combinations. But he doesn't have, and I don't believe anyone can give him, what Vitaly Klitschko has naturally, where you throw a punch and the guy already is thinking defensively. Vitaly Klitschko, big offensive juggernaut. You throw a punch on Vitaly, he automatically rolls. Right? You know, you throw punches, Vitaly knows how to get his shoulder in the way. Right? Vitaly, in fact, knows distance. Just like Sergio Martinez has his hands down several times in the Chavez fight. Chavez throws, Martinez just rolls his head. Without that roll, without without movement above the neck, you really have to wonder how good defensively Amir Khan's going to be. I'll even go further. The entire interpretation of the sport. Amir Khan is an ambush fighter. He's in, he's out. He jumps in, throws a combination, he gets back out. I'm telling you that to teach a guy like that how to be a Roberto Duran type fighter, where Duran fought some guys from the outside, right? But Duran also fought other guys inside, where it's a chess match, right? You know, he's not, you know, his defense was rolling with punches and getting arms in the way, right? Blocking your punch, then lowering the hammer with your hand outside his, right? Whether it's Angelo Dundee, Virgil Hunter, I'm not sure if they'll be able to incorporate that kind of thing into Amir Khan's game. You know, I'm a skeptic. I know Amir Khan saying Freddie Roach didn't teach him defense. You know what? Even though Ray Leonard had a great trainer, Angelo Dundee, Hall of Famer, you know, I doubt that Ray Leonard ever was in the ring and didn't pay a lot of attention to defense. Right? I believe a Ray Leonard's like a Michael Jordan. It's just part of who he is. Right? Which coach got Jordan to play defense? I would argue it's Michael Jordan who got Jordan to play defense. Whether it's Doug Collins or Phil Jackson, it's who the guy is. Right? Anthony Davis, I don't even know who his coach is going to be in the NBA, but I know Davis is going to be out there blocking shots because it's just who he is. Right? Vitaly Klitschko at one point had something like a greater than 80% KO ratio. In other words, 1 in 5 guys went the distance with Vitaly Klitschko. But he always had the rolls and ability to kind of like hit you, then lean and have your punch not hit him. In other words, he was always in sync with who he was fighting. The problem with ambush guys like Khan, like Jean Pascal, is that they aren't always reading their opponents. What I encourage everyone to do is to listen to commentary of any Jean Pascal fight that Emanuel Stewart has done. Emanuel Stewart is such a Jean Pascal skeptic because Pascal isn't rolling with punches. He's not doing the things that old-timers want to see. I think Virgil Hunter is going to be surprised that even though Amir Khan throws 100 miles an hour, right, has the power, has the hand speed, he just doesn't have the reflexes, in my opinion, the responsiveness, the adaptability to his opponent that Virgil Hunter has become accustomed to. Because Virgil Hunter, he's the guy who has helped develop Andre Ward. Does anyone watching this video believe that Andre Ward was ever in the ring as stiff, with as limited head movement as Amir Khan? I don't mean to call out an elite fighter here. But if we're really talking about gambling, isn't Amir Khan's inability to roll with punches and to just intuitively know when the punches are coming the reason why he lost to Danny Garcia, who, let's face it, is a limited mid-range hooker? I know I'm sounding hard. I'm criticizing champs. Let's keep it real. right? So I'm a skeptic on Virgil Hunter training Amir Khan. We'll see how that turns out. If they fight an adaptive, reactive fighter, put it this way. If you hear that Amir Khan has signed to fight Robert Guerrero at 147, I don't care what the line is. I don't care what the hype is. Bet on Robert Guerrero in that fight. And I don't care who is in the corner for Amir Khan. It could be Freddie Roach. It could be Virgil Hunter. I just have to question whether Khan's going to know what to do when Guerrero turns up the room temperature, stalks him down behind a jab, follows him after the ambush. I don't think I'm going to see Khan rolling with punches, doing other things. I only have a few minutes left before they cut off my time here. Let me just say this. Other fights this weekend. I don't know who had a better night. Sergio Martinez, who had a spectacular night, right? I mean, literally 11 dominant rounds. Or Robert Garcia, the trainer of Marcus Maidana. I was looking at Marcus Maidana. This is the best I've seen Marcus Maidana. I know the fight was competitive, but wow, here's Maidana shooting a jab, doubling and tripling up with the jab. Here is Maidana throwing counters, waiting, patient. I mean, here is Maidana setting up his power shots to the point where the power shots were even more powerful. Now, I know Steve Farhood felt that Maidana was discouraged after 3 rounds. All I can say is, this is the best I've seen Maidana. Maidana is learning to box. The big difference with Maidana is he signed up with Robert Garcia. Garcia is doing an A+ job with him. Maidana's boxing was surprising. While Maidana is never going to have his head on a swivel like Ray Leonard, you know what? He now has a defensive construct. He now can hide his head, and he's able to move his body. I thought Maidana looked awfully good. I know the fight was close until the ending, but I thought what Maidana was doing was much more interesting than what he used to do. Let me also say this too. Miguel Beltran. I thought he got robbed in his fight. I didn't make a prediction on the fight. I'm not here trying to cover up for a prediction. I didn't know much about Beltran before the fight. I know he lost the fight officially. I thought he won. I thought the ref's point deduction cost him the fight. Apparently did on the judges' scorecards. But quite frankly, I thought he's the better fighter than Rocky Martinez. He's more fluid. He throws fluid combinations. While he's not a defense-first fighter, he makes great adjustments. Miguel Beltran's now on my radar. I was very impressed by what I saw with him. I was very impressed another trainer who somehow has clicked with his fighter. Buddy McGirt has clicked with Matthew Macklin. Spectacular performance while that short fight happened. Macklin used to be a mid-range hooker. Now Macklin has remade his game. Just like Marcos Maidana has remade his game. Macklin's working with Buddy McGirt. I thought Macklin fought a much better fight against Sergio Martinez than did Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I have to tip my hat to Buddy McGirt on the work with Matthew Macklin. Also, another guy who lost, who I thought fought an excellent fight, was Robert Marroquin. Let me just say this. I thought he surprised Guillermo Rigondeaux with surprise hard counters all fight long. He did go the distance with Rigondeaux. Let's just say this. Rigondeaux is one of the sport's better pure boxers. He's an excellent boxer. To see a young guy there hanging with him and hurting him on occasion. Marroquin even had his hands up when he got knocked down late in the fight. That was just great work by Rigondeaux, right? Marroquin, he's a serious player. I was very impressed with him. I was also impressed with, obviously, Saul Alvarez. Very few in the sport hit as hard as him. I am concerned, though, about his conditioning. He looks like a guy to me who has to pace himself. I'm not sure if that's going to change. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at DwyerBoxingNews.com and GamblersAdvisory.com. Thanks for watching.